to put the members in. If you have a snow day, there's no exceptions. So the earlier you put in members, the better.
Can you say that date again? Because I just barely started filming. I'm sorry, Jane.
Oh, all right. So membership deadline is the first Monday of February 5th at midnight. No exceptions. Don't wait to that day to put your names in, because if you have a snow day, there won't be any makeup for that. So get those in early. I try to tell people to have it done by the 31st of January, and then, if things happen, you should still be in good shape to get everything done that you need to have done. All right, so we're going to skip around on the agenda a little bit. First, I see Matt. I know that Melissa is listening. Amy, I'm not sure if you hear and see us, but I see that you've joined.
Yes, I can hear you and see you.
Okay, good. We can't see you. You don't have a camera, right?
No, I do have one.
Oh, we don't see you.
That's all right.
Okay. But we do hear you, so that's good. And Celine from North Country. And Beth Ladd from Essex may be joining us shortly. And then I've also put it out to the skills advisors that are in my distribution list. So people may pop in if they decide, they have a little extra time. December's hard for that, but we'll see. All right, so we're going to skip around on the agenda a little bit, and I'm going to let Matt take it over. At the bottom of the agenda, you'll notice that we have a website reveal, and Matt's going to explain. Matt's our new, I forget the title, website manager. Is that what you are?
Yeah, I think kind of like a web coordinator, and I'll do webmaster, and I'll do social media as well. So I guess just for the team here, just the big thing is get a site that really attracts new people to skills. They really see the site, and that's a good representation of what it's all about. Something that's informative, really, really easy to go through, just straight down to the things that you need. But if you want to dive in, has some cool presentational parts to it. So we want to keep the URL the same as it's been, just for so it's easy for everyone else. And that's been a little bit of a headache transferring it over. But so right now it's still going to look like the old website, but within 4 days at the most, because we're doing a web transfer, it will look like this. Let me turn on my screen. Can you see my screen right now? Yes, you can see yourself on the screen. Cool. So let me open up the skills website.
Wow, the Nationals picture.
Isn't that good?
Yeah, that's great.
So, so you can see how even right now, how it's just a few pages. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure. So this is kind of the feel for it. And Jane, this is updated now with the correct logo and color scheme and everything.
Yeah, it looks good.
So yeah, when you visit, it'll be here. There's a little countdown to our state competition. The goal is within this year to, especially at our state competition, I'm going to make like a really nice film of it, really get more media. So soon we want to have like a YouTube page with like a recap video from each of the times we get together. It's not showing the Facebook down there because I'm at school and they block Facebook at our school. But right here where it says like our page on Facebook, it will have the live feed of our Facebook posts. So that'll be photos, and that's where, Jane, we can put up Friday Flash stuff. Over here,
Okay.
These are our latest tweets, so you can see stuff down there. So you can see under calendar and events, this is where Jane's going to be putting in a lot of the new data points. And this is just a Google Calendar, so we all use, I think, Google to some extent. So you can sign right up for updates and everything else through the Google Calendar here. It has it as a calendar format and also as a list format over here. So you should see all the dates with a lot of detail. When you click national competition, it will send you straight to the national site just for more information about the national competition. And when you go to the state competition, it will show you this, which is what this year will be about. It has the registry link, and from now on, the registry, which I don't know how long it's been like this, Jane, is always going to be through the national site, which is good.
It's only been, this is our 3rd year.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when it was on the state site, so now that will just be a quick link. Then, just so everyone knows, I know in the past, people have wanted to go on and see the updates from their contests. This year, the updates for the contest, it's a little bit easier to navigate. Each contest is going to have a folder, which via Google Drive, any contest manager can just go and drop in updates, forms, anything else they need. And what's cool is it will tell you right here that it's been modified since you last saw it. And that way we don't have to deal with a weird system for uploading those. Everyone can just upload it via their email, any contest documents. If you click,
we can upload our own updates?
Yep. Yeah, anytime. And really it's like even just through your email right now, it's a drag and drop where you can drag and drop a Word document or photo, PDF, anything you would like to have in there. And it will purge itself at the end of the year and start each year, or you can keep it in there. And I'm going to put in the national competition overview of it in each folder, so there's something to start.
Will each contest manager have their own login to get to that?
Honestly, yeah, they don't need a new login. They just will register, they will connect their email to their folder.
Okay.
So that
What's
way,
that?
because that's one goal I think is like we don't want people to have to sign up for something new and learn how to use it. It's as easy as their Google Drive, which I think most teachers either have learned or have someone at their school would know how to do it. So should be
Matt,
good.
what's to keep anyone else from altering the updates?
Well, the
Beside the contest manager.
only the people who are in the contest will have access to those folders. So it's a private, like the whole folder area is private, but each contest manager is allowed to add to their folder.
But
So
nobody
I'm-
else.
Nobody else, yeah, nobody else can.
Okay.
So you would need to log into your email to be able to do that. So
Okay. And I'll need to give you the names of each of the contest managers for those folders.
exactly, yeah, and just just their name or even just their email. And
Okay.
they don't even, and they'll even get the invite that says, "Here's your folder to drop stuff in." No installations or extra things necessary.
All right.
So I'm pretty confident that'll be great. Resources page. So this is new, Jane, since you all saw it. So far we have, here is their Vermont consent form,
Nice.
and
That
here's
looks good.
the national one. So pretty darn easy. Click it and get the PDF. Coming soon, we'll have that tiebreaker quiz, the application for officer membership, and the application for advisor of the year.
Nice.
Last other couple things, media gallery. And this is where this year I'm going to really try and go around and meet everyone, because right now it's mostly photos I took at the national competition, but we'd love to post up photos so you can see kind of here stuff from our state, a couple things from the old website, and you can like kind of go in and see these in a cool way and scroll through them. But yeah, so media gallery, hopefully we'll have some photos that will get people excited for it. The sponsors page is under development. Right now we've at least got a list, but soon these are all going to be nice interactive links. That part's going to take me a while, Jane, but I promise it will happen once the site
that's
goes
no
live.
problem. That is
Yeah.
no problem.
Cool.
I mean, this is way more than what they've ever had, so this is good.
Yeah, I'm excited. I feel like in my test runs, it's been running clean. It's really been working well. And for contacting and all of the people in charge, so Jane, Linda, Paula, Christopher, myself, we will all have emails. This is another thing once it goes live through skillsusavermont.org. So you can kind of, and it's up to each person, like Jane, if you want to filter that email going into your one you're using right now, or if you want to keep them separate. so you can have them go to the same address. But generally, for like security and everything else, we'll each have like Jane at skillsusavermont.org, Matt at skillsusa, or people can write to this form, and it will, based off the stuff they're talking about, send it to the person that it relates to. So that's the website. It's a lot simpler than in the past, but it's got a lot of stuff on there that, it's only a few pages, but it jumps right to the stuff we need it to. And the real thing is, to start really having social media, like the photos students take while they're at these competitions, posting those up through Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and eventually having some videos that I'll produce through the YouTube page. So pretty exciting stuff, and I think it's going to be a lot more manageable for our advisors, our contest managers, and everyone else. So,
Nice. I like it.
Nice job.
thank you. Yeah, it should be fun.
Any questions on that? It's going to be 3 to 4 days before it's actually up and live.
Looks good.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Matt.
No problem.
All right. I'm going to go to, let's see, to make sure that we have time, because we don't have a lot of middle school chapters doing middle school membership yet. So I'm going to go to the Vermont Skills or Leadership and Skills Conference. So registration is going to happen the same as it did last year. Registration won't open up until after the membership deadline. So I'm not sure if I gave you that date yet, or if I'm going to put that into the calendar, Matt, but I think it's the Monday. I think I initially put it in as the Monday after registration, the deadline for registration. And it goes into March. The conference itself, the registration is pretty much the same. Deadline the opens in February, it ends in March, a couple weeks before the conference. And I did not add in there a incentive for registering early or a late fee for registering late. I think I did that when we changed it and you had to sign up by, a couple weeks before. I think people are pretty used to that now. So, but I am looking at changing the format of the conference and getting away from, but I'm looking for ideas. I'm not sure. I think there's a lot of time and energy that goes into the banquet the way it is now, and people are still very upset when schools go in, they take the nameplates off the table and they sit at a table even though it doesn't have their nameplate on it, or they bring in extra people who haven't paid for tickets. Last year it cost me $2,000 more than what it was supposed to cost because of the extra meals that were served for people who just walked in. And last year we didn't have people checking names. I thought, after a few years of checking names, that people would know that they'd have to have a ticket, their names would be checked. So we didn't put people there at the door, and it cost us $2,000. So,
Well, it was a buffet though. So how do they justify that?
because if we order 650 plates, they only put out 650 plates.
Right, but it sounds like they charge you more because they serve more than that.
They did serve more than that. They had to bring out more plates. You know what I mean?
Right, but some of those plates, some of my students, they took the plates, Jane, so they used new plates.
Oh, well, I get charged for another whole meal if they take another plate.
Okay, so that's an interesting note for schools to know that. And also,
Yes.
also for the servers not to take their plates if they're not done with their meal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know our students did that as well. But I don't think, I had no idea about that. It makes sense, and I know that was an expense you had there, Jane. But you're right that over a few years, people should have learned. But, a lot of these students, this is their first and only time doing Skills USA for some of them. So, they tell their parents, oh, there's this banquet, come to it. So I think it's just being very, very clear about the banquet. Like even in our agenda, just saying, you need a ticket to attend. You can't just wander in because your kid's part of it.
Okay. Oh, I was actually thinking of changing the banquet to not be at 5. That lobby fills up and it's packed. And if we started it at 4 or 4:30 and we did a meal, and then we had a speaker, so then gives us some extra time to get the scores in and the PowerPoint ready for awards. We have a speaker for an hour, then I think we're not going to run into the problem as much of parents coming in, because with it being at 5:30, parents are getting out of work and coming right there. I know I had to ask some parents to leave, and that was uncomfortable, but I explained to them that we couldn't afford to just let anybody in who wanted to come. That tickets had to be purchased ahead of time. And so I did have some parents that left, but then I found out that we had some parents who didn't leave, who stayed. And that's because the advisors say, no, I have students not here, so you can have these seats. And it doesn't work like that. So the costs of going to the conference does include the ticket to the banquet. Knowing that probably 15% of the people aren't going to use the banquet tickets, I don't reserve those 15 seats, and I'm able to bring the cost of the meal that's built in down a little bit, knowing that some people aren't going to go. So Melissa's got a bunch of questions. I will get to your questions in a minute, Melissa. So I'm thinking the format needs to change. We probably do need to go back to having people at the doors and checking off names on a list, so that if parents are there, or if teachers or students or whoever signs up or tries to get in who didn't pay the conference fee, that they won't be able to get in. Okay, so Melissa, does everybody see what Melissa wrote? Yeah, okay. Advisors will have access to the folders. Yeah, you mean the update folders, I'm guessing. Yes, anybody will be able to look at what's in them. Only the contest managers will be able to add stuff to them. Right, Matt?
Correct.
Okay. Let's see. So we did she suggests having advisors stand at the table. So we did do that last year for a few tables. Melissa, it might have been your group. And yes, people didn't use more than one plate. So I guess we can make an announcement on that. I can put it in my information that I put out, but yes, for every plate that's taken, we're charged $30. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. James, just as you're answering these, just kind of thinking, just as somebody being there last year, and I know it was hectic. So your idea is to move the dinner part forward, so that then those parents who want to just stand and see if their kids win can come in and we don't get charged?
Right.
That sounds brilliant. I think that's a great idea. Because,
Right.
those parents weren't seeking a meal. They just wanted to be around when their names got called.
Right. So we have a dinner, have a speaker, have the awards. The awards would start at the same time that they've been starting.
Yeah.
And parents can come in and have a seat and watch the awards, but come in after. So I would put it in the agenda that way. That it was, say, dinner for students and advisors, and then the next thing on the agenda would say a keynote speaker, and the next thing on the agenda would say awards banquet. All welcome.
That sounds great.
So no keynote speaker on the first night then?
Oh yeah, I would have a speaker on both nights. But the first night is a free speaker because he's already invited himself. And that is Tim Lawrence from Nationals.
Oh, nice.
No way.
That's cool.
Or should I have him at the banquet? I'm not sure, but I could have him at the banquet. But yeah, he's put it on his calendar to come. So,
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah, that's cool.
so I was thinking of having him the first night because he's free, and having the person we have to pay for when there's a bigger group there. Because we've had some really pretty phenomenal speakers, but only a couple of hundred people hear him or her. So, and I'll start putting that out. I'm trying to take notes at the same time. And put it out far enough in advance so that everybody knows. If people want to add information, they have more suggestions, we can do that. Okay. Oh, yeah, that Melissa, we can have advisors go in to each of their tables. It just seems so ridiculous that we have to do that. And it's not the students taking the nameplates off the tables, it's adults. So, but that's an option. We could certainly use advisors' help. I'm going to add that to my list. Advisor volunteers for the banquet night. And we could even use advisors to check names off for people going in. Right. Any other ideas for the state conference or things that didn't go well last year that we need to keep in mind for this year? I think the bus situation from the front of the Sheraton worked a whole lot better. I think the breakfast in the restaurant is much nicer. So those things we're looking. The Hilton owns the Sheraton now. It's no longer Sheraton. So as I start putting information out and people are coming to you and saying, why is what's the name of it now?
It's just called Burlington Hotel now. I looked that up.
Burlington Hotel?
Yeah.
Which one?
They just that's it. They are just calling it the Burlington Hotel.
The Sheraton is?
That's what I've found online so far.
Oh, well, it's going to be...
Are they calling it? I might be wrong, but that's what it says online right now.
Let me see. My salesperson wrote me. So people will be confused when they start seeing that it's at a different hotel. So I'll keep spreading the word. Well, I'll look it up. It's whatever was at Trader Joe's or Trader Duke's before, the restaurant Trader Duke's. That hotel is now what the Sheraton is going to be. And no, December 1st. It just says Hilton on her email. It's in the Hilton family. Okay, Melissa, that is a good suggestion. Okay. So, new hotel, but same hotel. We have the Sheraton, all the space in the Sheraton that we had the year before. So the competitions that were held, the skills competitions that were held at the Sheraton will still be held at the Sheraton. I didn't get any suggestions for adding new competitions this year. People initially said that they thought we should add some, but when I put out that request, I didn't get any additions or suggestions for additions.
Jane,
So, yeah.
personal note, will media still be, like the photography, graphics still be at the Air Base, or is there any room for those at the Sheraton like they used to be?
They'll be at the Sheraton like they used to be.
Okay, cool. Just on a personal note, the photography students and graphics too, they got a little stressed because the military base, they were like, go take photos, but don't go to these regions on this map or you'll be shot. And so the kids got a little
Yes,
upset, so.
everybody got that, but there will be some contests over there. So if your students are going to go and take pictures of the different contests, then at the Air Guard, which has access to which is where they say if you go onto the runway, you'll be shot.
Yeah.
They know that kids are there. They're really friendly with getting people on.
Yeah.
The Camp Johnson was the difficult one last year.
Sure.
They wouldn't let the kids with cameras on because they thought because people from the media are always trying to sneak in. Are you kidding me? Like, they've all got red jackets on.
Well, if we can just maybe plan photography and graphics, because those are very, move around ones.
Yes,
at Sheraton,
those will be set up. Their base will be at the Sheraton.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. I don't know, Amy, if you were contacted, but I had an ask to switch mobile robotics to VTC. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm willing to listen to what you have to say. To move it to VTC would be on a different day, which goes away from what our whole goal is, and for students to experience the entire conference, that it's not just the competition, it's about the entire experience. At Sing the Keynote Speaker, if it's on a separate day, we know statistically those kids aren't going to come to the Wednesday night or the Thursday night event. They won't even come for the awards banquet. So I'm not a big proponent of having competitions on a separate day, which for some it's not really a choice because we have sponsors who are giving up their space and they can't shut their business down for a day.
Right. Well, BTC runs the machining program. They can't take machines to Berlin.
Right.
So
Right.
I told Chris that, one, it's difficult for teams to get there at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's easier for us to stay overnight because we're coming from such a great distance. I know he wants to sell VTC to the students, but I agree with all your points that you have.
Thank you.
And I also told Chris that space was not an issue when we've had the last year the Air Force Base gave us a huge space, and also when we've been at the Sheraton, the space has been more than generous for us. He's thinking about when he ran it. What was it, like 5 years ago or 4 years ago? He was in
robotics. He never ran.
It was when the other guy ran it.
Yeah, Mike Ogilvie. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't Mike. It was, I forget what the other guy's name is. Anyways, that space was really tight. But it hasn't been that way since. So I would prefer that it's up in Burlington.
Okay.
One, I probably wouldn't travel to the conference if it's at VTC.
Oh, all right.
Right? Because there'd be no need for me to go up to Burlington. It would be
right. And that's the case for most of the kids who compete on the Saturday before. They don't go to the banquet. And really, we want kids to experience the entire event. It's not just the competition.
Right, and I agree with you. It's a valuable experience going to the conference.
Thank you. I'm gonna add that to my notes.
So I would prefer that we leave it as it is, Jane.
Okay.
Are the medical competitions going back to the Sheraton then? Other than the
You know,
Illinois?
those are on the same day, so they're on one of the 2 days. So people are still coming to the conference. It's no different than having AGC running the contest out at the Camp Johnson and the Air Guard taking some contests, because you're still competing in the same 2 conference days. It would be different if it was going to be at VTC on the Saturday before, which is what Chris is wanting to do with mobile robotics. Is to move it to the Saturday before.
Right, I was just thinking that some of the medical competitions were on base last year. Are they going back to the Sheraton, like medical terminology, medical math?
Oh, yes, those will go back to the Sheraton.
Awesome. Okay.
And the robotics, the same thing, Jane?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, now that we have the space, I know that the Air Guard loves to host us, but it just wasn't ideal. Well put. Let's see. So the plan is that it will go back to looking like it did a couple years ago. There may be some at the Air Guard base, but very little. We're trying to bring those people into the Sheraton to help us with contests. We know that automotive will be at the Air Guard base on those days because that's what they do.
And fire.
What?
Fire will be there also.
Fire will be there, and possibly CPR and first aid, because that worked well there last year. Okay. All right. Any more discussion on that? No? All right. So the last thing is middle school. Are any of you doing middle school membership yet? No. No. Okay. So this doesn't apply to any of you. There is an option for middle school membership. It's very hard for me to give any kind of push to that when, as a part-time executive director, I tried to bring in someone to work on it this year, and I didn't get any takers. But maybe next year, and there's limited competitions that they can compete in that are actually offered to them at the national level. There's a whole discussion that needs to happen. Are middle schools actually able to afford to send kids to competition, state and nationals? So this will be further discussed in other meetings, because I know that Green Mountain has started a middle school chapter. Another schools talked about a middle school chapter. It is taking some ground, because honestly, it could be a great recruiting tool, bringing our middle school kids into tech centers. So it's something we should be discussing, but it's a slow start. All right. Questions, comments, concerns?
You had something about job skills. A and B was on the agenda, Jane.
Yeah, that's for middle school. So those are the contests that I listed under middle school membership questions. Job skill demo A and open are one of the options for middle schoolers.
Right, but what's the difference between those two for high school kids or career center kids?
The guidelines?
Correct. Or because one's different than the other.
You mean between high school and middle school it's different, or between A and open?
Celine said, I think she can answer that, right?
Right. So job skill demo A is they have to demonstrate something within their program, and open is they can demonstrate anything, like cleaning a saddle if they wanted to. So that's the difference. Or they can still do something within their program, but A is specifically to the program, whereas open is the program or anything else they choose.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't realize. So the same is true for middle school. The guidelines may be a little different when you get to the middle school, but the same concept. It's the same concept. Either it's tied to the program or it's not. And those that can be anybody. You can sign up your kids in Job Demo A if you have a kid who is in your mobile robotics class but didn't get picked to compete in mobile robotics, but maybe wants to demonstrate an assembly of a robot. And then you may have a kid who just is big into snowboarding or skiing and wants to demonstrate how to wax a ski.
Which then brings up a question, Jane, that I always thought that kids can only compete in the other categories if they're actually in a course for it.
If you,
That's a good.
you mean in the skill programs?
Correct. So a kid that is not taking automotive cannot compete in the automotive program is the way that I understand it. But it sounds like there's some fuzzy lines there.
There is, because if you have nobody in automotive who wants to compete, and you have a kid who's doing an internship and learning about in auto body, but also working on engines and wants to compete in automotive technology, he can.
Right, but that's different because internship it has to be through your school.
Well, right. Are you saying they're competing? You can be in any program, and if you don't have somebody competing in that, and the kid says, I want to, like, we didn't. We had a Essex student who wanted to compete in firefighting. He was a tech center student. He was a part-time firefighter. They don't have a firefighting program. He competed in firefighting.
Okay.
But you can't displace someone who's in the program who wants to compete.
Right. Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Well, thank you so much for joining. And
I
have a
filmed
great
this, Jane, so
holiday.
I'll send you the film in just a minute. But
Okay.
yeah, I gotta go.
Great.
But thank you, everyone, and Jane will send a message out when the website goes live. So, thank you.